This week's episode of the Pretty Neat Podcast is brought to you by you. That's right, if you'd like us to promote your content or your store, let us know by going to theprettyneatpodcast.com and click in the mailbag.
It's time for the Pretty Neat Podcast. It's time for the Pretty Neat Podcast.
What's up, buddy?
Hey, how are you?
A-OK.
A-OK. That's
Number
fantastic.
one, A-OK.
You are number one for me, A-OK guy.
Number one.
You
Dr.
went-
Jones, no time for love.
Speaking of Dr. Jones, you went to the Boogie Bash.
Yeah. I mean, there's a few degrees of separation, but yeah, we got there.
Yeah.
We did the Boogie Bash.
And they sell alcohol at the Carnation Cafe now.
Carnation Cafe, Cafe Orleans, and one other. What am I
Wow.
missing? Over there in Fantasy. No, that's not Fantasyland. It's Frontierland. So
Yeah, I know
Carnation Cafe,
the one that
Cafe
overlooks
Orleans.
the river.
Riverboat Terrace.
Riverboat Terrace. There you go.
Yes. Thank you. We got there.
We did.
On
Well,
the day,
you got there. I am
no. You definitely assisted.
I'm
I wouldn't have
1,000
gotten there
miles away.
without the thing. You know,
Yeah.
it was the first day. It was the very first day that was available.
Heck yeah.
So I was kind of trying to. Ashley and I were trying to figure out. Okay, so what do they have here at Carnation Cafe that makes a lot of sense thematically? And there's not really a theme other than they can easily make a bunch of it in advance, or it's something that is just a quick combination. So at Carnation Cafe, they serve champagne. You could get a mimosa with a mimosa or champagne with lavender, which seemed interesting.
Huh.
Which that's a quick mix.
Sure. Lavender is
Yep.
one of those things where I adore the smell and I hate the taste.
I hate the taste. There's
Yes.
I can't remember the last time I had something that had lavender in it, but the smell itself, the scent, right? I'm on board with you.
Regardless
I
of
only,
that.
I only remember Ashley a couple of years ago bought herself a lavender cake. Like she ordered a fancy cake, and I don't eat a lot of cake or sweets in general, so I didn't have any of it, and she hated it. So you and her may have that shared sentiment.
Yeah.
And they had like two cocktails. So they had a peach pie margarita, which sounded like it was blended, so it was like pre-made almost. And I forget what the other one was. And then they had two beers. So they had Michelob Ultra.
I don't know why that's funny to me, but
It's
it
like
is.
Michelob Ultra, right?
I think
So
it's
for your
it's the following the peach
peach pie margarita.
peach pie margarita. That just like
And then
That
Michelob
seems-
Ultra.
that's such a creative take on a fall drink. And
Peach pie margarita. Yeah. I
yeah,
agree.
to go to Michelob.
And then they had a hazy IPA. What's was funny is that whenever you go to a restaurant, right, and you look at beer selection, or maybe you don't do it as often, but I kind of like tend to pick up on these things. Like Michelob Ultra would be one of those beers that's like it's a couple dollars less because it's Michelob Ultra, right? Very low alcohol content. Like it shows it too. They were actually really good in the menu in talking about like alcohol by volume, IBUs, and then price. So the Michelob Ultra is $10.25 for wasn't even a pint glass. It was one of those like stemless goblets almost. So I think it was a 12 ounce pour, but I'm not exactly sure. But then you had your hazy IPA, which was also 1025, but that was 7.5% ABV. And then it also showed the IBUs as well, which was interesting. We were getting real snobby about how they presented the menu, but it was fun.
That sounds fun. And that was all at Carnation Cafe.
All at Carnation Cafe. So it's a total shit show. They had the marching band going, and you can check in online, and they will send you an automated text that says, "Hey, you're checked in. We'll send you another text when we're ready to seat you." And then you have to line up. But everybody just lines up anyway. So it goes out to the fucking street. And the marching band's trying to come down. So it's all roped off. And people are like, "Well, what do we do? Is this the line for the text?" It's like, you fucking morons. I'm going to go next door and look at some stuff. And then I'm going to come in and get seated. And we did. And it was great.
Great.
Carnation Cafe. They have live carnations, not plastic carnations in their table settings, their centerpieces.
Oh, damn.
They also have alcohol at 2 other locations now, I believe.
Cafe Orleans and the Riverboat Terrace.
That's right. In addition to the 2 that already had it.
Yes.
Oga's.
Well, 3. Oga's.
Well, Club 33.
Club 33.
And Blue Bayou.
Blue Bayou. You almost like, why are we struggling to think of Blue Bayou?
And I'll say this. I guarantee you, if people didn't make a big deal out of it, nobody would have even realized that they just suddenly started serving alcohol.
Is Olga is that the one at Galaxy's Edge?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Olga.
Gotcha.
There's no L.
Olga.
Yeah, don't ever say Olga again.
Olga. Wait,
it's Olga's Cantina, and DJ3RX is the host there. Don't think we ever get to see Olga, but she's definitely not Swedish. Or Scandinavian for that nature.
Swedish, like from Switzerland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We doing like a Trading Places joke here?
No, that is a Boy Meets World joke, sir.
Okay. Well,
yeah,
that just
I'm
went
sorry.
right over my head.
But it is one.
And
I believe I broke it off during our date on Saturday.
Sweden's the one between Finway and Norrland, if I'm correct.
I can confirm that is accurate.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Dom, how are you today?
I'm all right.
Welcome to the Pretty Neat Podcast.
Hi.
I feel like this is an episode where people will, I'm Aaron, by the way, will be listening to it right before or during the fight tomorrow.
That's not a bad way to do it.
Listening to this during the fight, feel free to drop us an email in the mailbag to tell us how wrong we were on the picks we're going to
I think we're going to get a lot of them right.
I do too.
You think so?
I do
too.
I feel very mediocre about it.
It's a really good card.
It's very good.
So you guys,
it's a good fight night card.
It's UFC Noche.
It is.
Did you know that Canelo,
Noche UFC?
Noche UFC. Canelo is not fighting tomorrow because the UFC booked T-Mobile ahead of him. Did you know that?
Is it next Saturday?
No, he's not fighting until the end of the month. But typically the 2 times a year that Canelo fights is Cinco de Mayo and Mexican Independence,
Yep,
which is this weekend.
Yep.
But the UFC booked T-Mobile, and he's like, well, fuck it. I'll just fight at the end of the month because I'm not going to fight anywhere else but Las Vegas.
But he's fought in Dallas, and I mean he's going to fill any football stadium he goes to.
I don't doubt that at all. There's no doubt there. But,
well, he's already done it a bunch of times. Yeah, September 30th.
Yeah, September 30th. That's exactly what I said. Quote me.
So this says
the end of the month.
It's that time of the month.
I got
so
you.
this says, this is a quote from someone with the last name Espinoza. It says, Canelo's former promoter had the traditional date, the 16th, on hold with the Nevada Commission. Espinoza said, as is customary, other promoters can get a second position. In this case, the UFC asked for a second position. At some point, the Nevada Commission contacted Canelo's former promoter and said, we just want to confirm if this is happening. The promoter did not respond in the time the commission gave, so then it went to the UFC. So it's not even really that the UFC bumped him.
Dude, hence former promoter.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That is wild. I did hear about that. That's nuts.
So the question is, does the UFC keep doing this every year?
I mean, if he doesn't respond, it's going to happen every year.
Well, I
Or
think
you
the
mean just you
yeah.
have Noche
No,
UFC?
do a UFC Noche
I
and
think
make it
they
like a really big fight night card that everybody's going to watch because obviously for them they want to bring in all of that fandom from south of the border.
Yep.
I think they do it every year, and I think they could move it around. I think they could do it in Dallas. They could do it in San Antonio. They could do it in San Diego. They could do it in Phoenix and
Maybe
Why don't they
Anaheim,
just do it
Mexico.
in? Why don't they do it in Mexico
Los
City?
Angeles. They could do it in Mexico City
Yeah.
and sell every seat. So they can do it
Yep.
wherever they want.
Yeah,
Okay,
they
that's
really
fair.
could.
That's fair.
Mhm.
For them, it's just like Las Vegas. That's the backyard. It's down the street. So
Literally, and it's it's a big venue. They're not going to put this card at the Apex. Listen to this quote from later in this same article. Whatever happened, the UFC pounced to stage what it's calling Noche UFC on Saturday, a milestone, and buckle in its push to penetrate the Mexican and Mexican American markets.
phrasing.
Fuck yeah, penetrate
Yes.
it.
Push to penetrate
Push to penetrate.
the Mexican market, and what a sweet market it is.
Oh,
Try
that
not to get
former
lightheaded in the high altitude.
that former promoter, noted complete fucking moron, Eddie Hearn.
Oh man,
Let me
This
say
makes
that
sense.
again. Noted complete
Noted-
fucking moron,
noted moron Eddie Hearn.
Eddie Hearn.
Didn't
Come on the Pretty Neat
respond within the
podcast.
time frame to secure the primary position.
Well, in fairness, he's only in control of billions of dollars worth of boxing. He has all the biggest boxers. He doesn't have a guy who can answer the Nevada State Athletic Commission. It's not like we called and didn't get a response.
Eddie, we want
okay.
to make sure you're still calling dibs on the T-Mobile arena, right? Right, Eddie? Let me know.
Eddie. Okay.
And I will validate
All right.
that we have called and it is appropriate that there was no response.
Yeah. Or don't return our calls. That's fine.
The thing is,
NSAC
like,
calls.
for us, it's not essentially like notable or contrary to other types of responses.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, the mailbag is at theprettyneatpodcast.com. That's where you can connect with us, do
Yeah.
all of the things. Aaron, Ryan, Dom, that's us. And we talk about UFC and other pretty
Yeah.
neat things.
Connect with us platonically, I might add.
Yes. Yes.
So-
Only in that fashion. At least
I
for myself.
made, if you guys are interested, the first mistake that I've made in my new job.
Ooh, in your
and-
administrative career?
Yep. And here's the thing. I'm trying to be like Jocko Willink, right? So I am taking ownership, even
Ooh.
though in the back of my mind, it's not entirely my fault.
Somebody's deflecting.
But I sent the email and I said, I am taking responsibility for this and I will be better in the future. And then I put good and then I hit send.
Period. Good.
Good.
Period.
Now, do you think Israel Adesanya is going to do that with his new career?
I
as non-UFC
want to
champ?
talk. I want to talk in depth about Israel Adesanya, but I do not want to talk about him yet.
You want to, as in another episode? We'll do
No, it's later in this episode.
Okay.
Well, I
'Cause
guess if we're gonna do the recap, you got to hear about our Saturday at the cinema first.
Yes, that is number one on the recap. You two watched the UFC card in a unique way, different than before, I would say.
Yeah, it was definitely a new experience.
Yeah, you watched it at a movie theater.
Yeah,
Which,
At a
by the
movie
way,
theater.
yeah, one of the local fighters here, whose name is surpassing me right now, the Monster, who's here local, he went and saw it at the Alamo House, the Alamo Draft House. So yeah, people do that. How was it?
Fine, right? So here are the pros. Ticket sales $25. So if you were to watch this at home, which has its pros and cons as well, If you watch that by yourself and you purchase the card, you're spending $80.
Yeah.
So for a fraction of the cost, you can go into a public environment, sit down with your friend, which I did, and watch it and have good banter back and forth. And
yes,
the seating, right, is comfortable. I think our seats we chose in the main causeway were fine, right? Considering we did get up several times to either use the restroom or get the maximum number of 2 adult beverages that you can get at said theater, which is
which
a con,
I have
by
a
the
problem
way.
with.
That is a con. It is something that I'm sure for them in terms of ease of use, that they're not willing to amend some of those rules for certain situations, but it was a con. However, taking that into account, we did watch the prelims at the local Chili's.
Yeah.
Welcome to Chili's.
Which their shirts say, by the way.
Yeah, by the way, the bartender, which Dom asked, like, hey, your shirt says welcome to Chili's. Is that because of the meme?
And if
the
I'm
response
not,
was, I do not know.
I think, didn't she say I'd like to think so?
She did say that. She's like, I
Or
don't know
something
for
like
sure,
that.
but I'd like to think that it is.
Yeah. Chili's really is the crossroads of America.
Yes, it is.
There was immediately to our right, Ryan, I don't know if you were watching them. One of my favorite things to do in a place like a Chili's is look at the people who are there.
Sure.
Immediately to my right and also to your right were an older couple that were clearly regulars.
Yes, they were there. They come every Friday. The bartender knows them.
Yeah, it was Saturday, but yeah.
Okay, they come every Saturday. The bartender knows them. They know their drinks.
They knew multiple bartenders.
Here are the menus. Let me know if you want the usual.
Yep. And then
response.
They both ordered steak. And the wife had one of her sides was mashed potatoes. Now, this from appearances, right? This would seem to be a couple of means. They had
at face
resources.
Value, I would say that.
If you had to guess what sort of car they drove in on, minimum Lexus, right?
I was thinking the exact same thing.
Okay. Not shocking if they had a Mercedes, or you know what, maybe even a Tesla or something like that.
I was thinking like off the beaten path, but at the same level, a Jaguar.
Yeah,
a Jaguar.
Exactly that. Exactly.
Jaguar.
And so the woman at one point was not sitting there for a stretch of time. Either that or because we had many alcohols while we were sitting there. Did we not?
Excuse me, miss. Can I have a glass of alcohol, please?
You pre-gamed for the prelims. Fabulous.
Because we got to watch all the prelims, and it was happy hour all day, which just means their prices are actually real cheap.
Oh, extremely reasonable.
Extremely. The amount of alcohol we got for the amount of total money we paid was not ludicrous. Bad. It was really like, maybe I'll come here more.
In fact, it would be the precursor to going back to the theater
exactly
to do this again. It was like, well, we're gonna show up at Chili's this time at 5. Well, we showed up at 5. Sorry.
Yeah. Maybe 4:30.
Maybe 4:30.
Maybe
because
4.
it's all day happy hour on Saturday. Welcome to Chili's.
Hi, welcome to Chili's. So at one point she's not around. Then she comes back. and I don't know if you heard her say this, Ryan.
No, I didn't.
She took a bite of her mashed potatoes and then carries on with whatever it is her husband is saying. And then she says, these mashed potatoes are gross. Which it's not the first time she's ordered them, you know?
Right. She's a regular.
And I don't know, maybe they're like, oh, if hopefully it's a good mashed potato night or something.
We're gonna roll the dice on these mashed potatoes tonight.
I'm not just gonna go safe and go fries and a side Caesar salad. I want my fucking mashed potatoes. And so her husband, because of course he did not respond. He was not interested in her opinion of the mashed potatoes.
I don't care about your mashed potato take right now.
Yeah. And so then next to them seemed to be a group of 4, like 2 couples.
Yeah.
And yeah. And then to their right, so kind of directly across from where Ryan and I were, this is incredible audio, by the way. We're like a younger couple, and then next to them were some other people. And then there was another young couple directly sitting right next to me, in between me and the awesome old couple. And it was just a fun time. It was just a fun time at America's Crossroads Chili's.
Were there people?
Go ahead.
I was gonna just ask if there were other people that were there clearly to do the wise thing that you two were doing.
No, Aaron, not a single one.
Nobody was paying attention.
They chose to go there to
not a single one.
They chose to go there to eat food and socialize, not for the objective of getting more alcohol before we went into the theater to then get our maximum of 2 drinks.
That's disappointing.
Overpriced drinks.
I'm disappointed in the public.
In terms of like the comparison, like a 22-ounce beer, $5,
maybe even $4
if you got Bud Light.
It's unclear how. Maximum $5.
Maximum $5.
Damn.
Mexican lagers all day.
And I made a real smart decision.
Dom was moving back and forth between.
Dom was all over the place.
Types of beverages.
So I sit down. My wedding.
Yeah, I wish I remembered it. So I sit down and I order a red wine, the house red wine, which I believe was $4, maybe $5, maybe $6, whatever. She pours it for me. Well, she puts it down in front of me. I did not see her pour it. And Ryan can attest to this. I go, oh, this is either, what did I say? This is either
14 something or.
But I said the other one first. I said this is either this or 14 hands.
Correct. You did. Yeah, I was like, how do you
Dark
know?
Horse or 14 hands?
And I was like, how do you know that? You're like, that's what every house wine is.
And then sure as shit,
he's like, it's 14 hands.
It's right there. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Impressive.
You can taste it. It's not actually a bad wine. It's just, you know what it is when you get it. Then I went to beer. Then I went to some of their cocktails or margaritas that they make.
Yeah,
Loosely described. I had 2 margaritas. I know I had 3.
Give me
in
one
between
margarita.
those, I had a beer, and then I had another smaller beer right before we left, and then I had 2 drinks at the theater. And
you're lucky it was a short card.
And yeah, dude. And then I woke up really kind of feeling like hell, to be honest, and thinking like, what's wrong? Why do I feel like this?
Why do I feel so bad?
Well, it's because of all the drinking.
Yeah. You went red wine, beer, apparently 3 margs, back to beer. There was another wine at the theater
at the tail end,
interspersed with, what was your first drink at the theater?
Beer.
I don't recall. Beer.
It was beer, yeah.
And I went beer. You
did.
Beer. But I showed up at 5, and I think I had at least a full 22-ounce beer before we did another round.
You were well into it when I walked in, yeah.
Yeah, you were like, hey, text me when you're here. I'm like, I'm in the bar.
And he was.
Come find me. My wife, again, I woke up the following day not feeling super. My wife said, she's like, do you remember texting me last night? And I was like, no. What did I say? You said, I just got on the Uber. Right. Track my location. And I'm like,
right.
Oh, wow. So at some point I felt like the driver who then through recall was driving an electric Chevy Aveo. I felt
Bolt.
like my life
he had a Chevy Bolt. I saw it.
Chevy Bolt? Okay. That my life was in danger, which it wasn't. But I just like,
you reached that level.
I sent my wife a text that said, track my location. and she assumed, rightly so, that oh, maybe you want to keep texting. And she's telling me about what she did that night and all the things that she watched. And she said, you know what your response was? And I was like, no. She said, okay. Okay. And I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, Ubering was the right call for me. And I'm glad that I did it. But the events, the details are a bit vague.
See, so I actually I was okay. I was not. I mean, listen. I don't know what a breathalyzer would have said, but I did not feel out of control of my faculties. And then I just woke up feeling like death the next morning. It may have also been the Wendy's that I ate.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
You stopped at Wendy's?
You know what? I didn't intend to.
Did you get a Baconator?
No, I got the Big Bacon Classic.
Okay.
Double Big Bacon Classic. And you know what should have been my tip off to just leave? I get to the window. So there's a Wendy's by my house. I've never been there, but it's been there for a couple of years. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I could eat a burger. The protein would probably be good. Let's do it. And so
rationalization. Got it.
I pull in, I order, I get to the window, and I pay, and he goes, do you mind driving back through in 7 minutes? It's not ready yet.
Driving back through?
And I was like, what do you mean? You mean like you want me to pull around to the front and park and you'll bring it out? He goes, no, just come back through the drive-through. And I was like,
that's odd.
Okay. So I park and I'm like, you know what, man? Just go. Don't do this. Just go. And
yeah. Listen to your gut.
I ended up getting said Big Bacon. It was really good. And then fell asleep and really did not feel good when I woke up in the morning. And that's my story.
Yeah.
Knowing what I know now, here's what I would do differently.
Yeah.
I would have a better plan for eating something after the fights. That's step one. Something better than Wendy's. Step two, I would get to Chili's earlier.
Yeah. I was going to say Chili's earlier, and then as we are getting beverages, that we also eat some food at the Crossroads of America.
I think that's the move.
Yeah.
Nice.
I would also Uber there because knowing what I now know about Chili's alcohol prices.
Wow, this is what a bargain. What a bargain.
I'm getting a lead foot. You know what I'm saying? This is now a challenge, and I'm going to win.
This is exciting. I'm excited to experience this.
This would be in order the things I would do differently. Now, having said all of that, if it was to be, say, the October card, which is in the daytime, I'm still going to Chili's, assuming they're open.
They're open. Chili's is open. You would say what? They probably open at what, 11?
Yeah, but I think isn't that when the card starts?
Tomorrow or
no. The October Oliveira Makachev card.
Oh, because it's in Abu Dhabi.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember it being that. I'm gonna look up when it starts.
What is that? Is that 294?
I think so. UFC 294.
Oh shit. Yeah, it does start at 11.
Yeah.
Main card starts at 11. So
the move is
the main card's at 11.
The main card's at 11. The prelims
really
start at 7.
That's pretty sweet. There's really no.
Isn't there a Starbucks by the Chili's? They won't be showing fights.
No. Okay. So the move is this. This is so simple. The move is this. The main card for Stipe John Jones starts at 2 p.m. Pacific time.
That's a good one.
This means you're at Chili's at rope drop.
Yeah. You have brunch.
Okay.
And
you're
mimosas.
You're Chili'sing until, and we learned you can push it till about 10 minutes into the hour because the card doesn't start till 15 to 20, right?
Yeah, you have your preamble. They do the Headline, blah blah blah, John Anik, and then DC, Joe Rogan.
So that's the move. And at some point in that 3-hour Chili's block is something to eat. I'm not going full entree unless
some-
it's meat based.
Yeah, like appetizer for sure. We're going apps.
I think it's a table of apps
Wings,
It's
that
the
we
sampler.
share.
It's the
It's
sampler.
the sampler. Thank you.
It's the sampler.
tenders.
Now, if you're my sister, who
Tendies.
earlier that day told me there is no better place to get chips and salsa than Chili's,
That's not true.
What?
and I said, Tia, that is simply wrong.
Patently false.
And she just said, well,
we live in Southern California.
and here's the thing. I know my sister knows where to eat good stuff. She knows that what she said is ludicrous. That's not really, So anyway, I think that's the move.
Categorically false. Sorry.
I think that's
Goodbye.
the move. And then if you're out by 2 or 5:30, and then I think the move after that is all you can eat sushi.
Okay. How late does the all you eat sushi in that center stay open till?
I don't know if there's all you can eat sushi at that place,
Okay.
but I do know a place that does it all the day.
So here's an alternative option.
Okay.
Shamrock.
Oh, wow.
So I know that they open up early for NFL football,
Okay.
right? And they also have food fare, right? Bar fare. But we're in a bar. I'm scrolling through their website to see if they do anything for UFC.
But that's not near where we were.
No. it's
No.
not.
Shamrock is
Which is
Winchester
fine.
and Hot Springs.
Yeah, technically that's Murrieta.
The Shamrock Irish Pub and Eatery. No free shout outs, but hey, come on the Pretty Neat podcast.
Hey, I want to know
They
about
take
this.
reservations.
Oh wow!
They take reservations.
And shout
They
out
have
to
a-
Game Night. They do stuff there.
Do they still
Hey.
do that?
Yeah.
They have Guinness beef stew and a Carolina Reaper burger.
Oh wow.
I'm already gonna have diarrhea, so we may as well,
Let's
just go.
keep it going.
Yeah.
Like just get the full experience.
Yeah, aren't shamrocks also a diuretic like the plant? I've heard that too.
Are
Like
they?
you're not
Shamrocks
supposed to-
are not real.
You're not supposed to eat them. Well, clovers. What
Is
I'm
the
saying.
food at this establishment good?
Yes.
So if I recall, Irish nachos are amazing.
Yes.
Mm,
The last
I-
time I was out there and the last time I visited that area, I went to the Shamrock and had them, and they were delicious.
here's what I
Okay.
don't like,
Thank
and
you.
I don't like that you guys are talking about it.
Let's view the menu.
I am looking at the menu. I don't like when a place makes a pile of fries and then just puts like cheese and meat and onions, and people are like, "Oh my god, you put bacon and cheese on fries!" Like, fuck you. But they do have Irish egg rolls that have corned beef in them with Swiss cheese, and I do want that. So I'll meet you
mean-
halfway. I'll meet you halfway. How about that?
The Irish tater tots, beer cheese,
No,
bacon
no,
bits,
dude,
angel
no.
sauce. I don't know what angel sauce is.
This is a no.
Fries,
This is
Irish
a no for me.
cheddar, pepper jack cheese. Oh my goodness.
Dominic and I have a mutual friends, I'll loosely say friends, parent who works at Shamrock.
Okay.
What?
Yeah.
Huh?
There's a really easy hint. They're British.
What?
Never mind. We'll come back to it.
I need you to go ahead and put that in the Zoom chat.
Sure.
Because
The
it
move would
can't
be
be the
corned
person
beef
I'm
tacos.
thinking.
You have to get corned beef tacos.
Yeah, okay. They have a whistle pig flight. That's cool. 6-year, 10-year, and their old world 12-year. I'm into that. It's only $40. That's not bad.
All of these things being
Wait, where?
said,
Oh, drinks. Got it.
I'm
Oh, no shit. Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And she's awesome, by the way.
Well,
and you'll know right away.
do they look similar?
Yes.
All right.
You can tell they're related.
Okay.
Yeah.
Red Breast Flight, 12-year, 15-year
Mhm.
Lustau Sherry Cask.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. I
Have
would
you had
definitely do
red breast? It's good.
I have not, so maybe I'm speaking too soon.
Have you had the spots? I've only had green, but apparently there's blue, red, and yellow as well.
Yeah, I see the image to the
Mhm.
right. I don't think I've ever had that, but I mean, I would be down to try it.
I
Let's just
have
say that.
Green Spot at home, which is a very good Irish whiskey. And
Beers
they
on
have
tap.
a decent set of beers on tap. Yeah, we could go here. We could go here.
The problem is like if you look at their music and events, it doesn't go beyond the month. So we
Mm,
don't know what that means because we don't have any other UFC numbered cards this month.
no. But they don't do game night anymore, or they do?
It
Oh,
doesn't show it here.
oh,
Dueling
interesting.
pianos tonight, right? If we wanted to go.
Oh, it might have been because it used to be on Sundays.
Sunday, Tuesday, they do comedy at
I
that's a
knew about
terrible
that.
place to do comedy, right?
No, they've got a great stage.
Really?
I
Oh, you
did
know, that's
comedy.
right. I have
I
seen
did
an
comedy
Irish, I
there.
have seen an Irish band play on that stage.
That's where the guy threatened to stab me in the parking lot.
Jesus.
That I believe. Here's what
Yeah.
I don't like is that they call it premium spotlight comedy. None of these guys are premium comedians.
I think
Yeah.
that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
That they're
That
not premium comedians. Yeah, that is true.
we
However, I would go, and this particular day they have beers from a brewery that is local that also has, I think, open mic Mondays.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
nice. Okay. I mean,
All
that's
of
if they do it, that's a viable option for sure.
yeah.
If they show the fights, you're saying?
Yeah, if they show the fights.
Yeah. Huh. All of this being said, because now I'm very into having this experience myself at some point.
There you go.
What are
Right
your
there.
general thoughts on UFC 293? We're now 40 minutes into the show. We might as well talk about
We might as well
fights.
talk about the card that feels like it happened a lifetime ago.
Yes, it
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
What was
So
his name? The Pleasure Monster?
the Pleasure Man,
The Pleasure Man.
who got absolutely destroyed.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So the prelims were prelims.
So the prelims were fine. I didn't have any problem with the prelims.
Yeah.
I had some things that I found to be a bit shocking, like Manel Kopp not being able to finish his fight on a guy who took it on extreme short notice, who was debuting on the Contender Series.
Yeah.
That seems
That was on the main card.
Yeah.
that was on the main card. Yeah,
It
so
was.
I'm saying like that shocked me.
Me too.
Was it
Of
because
course,
Cop was a little bit of a letdown or because that kid just shined? Because I felt like it
so
was the kid shined.
I think it was both, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
Manel
I
Kopp was
also do.
he was fast, he was crisp, he was hitting with clean shots. Felipe Dos Santos is the gentleman we're talking about who took it on short notice. He hung in there. He was very aggressive as well, which we would expect coming out of Charles Oliveira's training camp. But still, I thought this would be a finish, and it wasn't.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure, Ryan, you and I talked about this, and I was saying Embedded did a good job of making it look like Dos Santos has a chance to beat him.
They did a great job.
And
Yeah.
it turned out Felipe Dos Santos is a good fighter. He's way
He's a
better
gamer.
than this. This was not Chris Moutinho.
No, like he could come in, he'd get a win, and likely be a top 15 ranked flyweight because flyweight itself is very top heavy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the only fight to make out of this is Manel Kopp fighting Kai Kara France. That's the only thing you can do.
Yeah.
Well,
coming
and
out of this
now
fight.
I kind of don't love it for Manel.
Why?
It would be.
I
a
think Kai
test.
Kara France is not that good. I think it's a way tougher fight for Manel than I originally did. Although, he had 2 weeks to prepare for this guy that there's probably no footage on. It the late notice change has an effect on the guy who is still in the fight too.
Agreed.
Yes.
as evidenced by Israel Adesanya and Sean Strickland.
I mean, a bit different, but also
Yes.
we'll get to that. That's
Yeah.
that's tough.
That's really just the next thing to talk about.
So this is the Anton Turkalj was the pleasure man.
Yes.
Who made a big name for himself during the press conference and in Embedded, and talking about how he was a professional pleasurer before he was a professional fighter. And then he just got absolutely knocked the fuck out by Tyson Pedro. Pedro looked great.
Yep.
Tyson Pedro looked awesome. Anton Turkalj looked real bad. Can I just say something?
Absolutely.
Okay. This is similar to what I was saying with Derek Lewis, and then John Jones had that quote too. I am not a prude.
No, I never thought that of you.
Thank you. I don't like when men are like super, oh yeah, sex. You know what I mean? Like
aggressively or overtly sexual.
Like don't tell me how good at pleasuring women you are.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
Don't say that to Joe Rogan on the microphone, Derek Lewis. Don't say that about your preparation for the Stipe fight, John Jones. It just makes me feel weirdly uncomfortable. Is
that's fair? We didn't ask Anton to tell us about. Well, in fact, we actually did. So they did ask those questions, but I mean, obviously, that wasn't the intent of the question. But yeah, we weren't asking him, "Hey, how good of a lover are you?"
Right.
What do you like to do in your spare time? You know, in the press conference, he said, like, you're gonna have to taste the pleasure man after this fight.
No.
To Tyson Pedro. And Tyson Pedro, like, you know, I think justly responded with, like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
What do you mean I'm going to have to taste the pleasure man after this? What are you fucking saying, you insane Swedish bastard?
I like when a guy doesn't have to tell you. And I'm going to give you an example. John Stamos. Stamos, yeah. I guarantee you, puts it down.
Well, he has a history of putting it down.
Do you know who Michael Rappaport is?
Yes, I do.
Aaron, do you know who Michael Rappaport is?
Yes, I do.
He goes on a very, very famous sports podcast. No free shoutouts. And
Rebecca Romaine.
I mean, look at this fucking guy.
So
what are we
talking about? Yeah.
What are we
talking about? Rebecca Romaine, who was the original Mystique, who was in essentially just full body paint in the original X-Men, like all body team.
Yeah.
And they got divorced, and now he's married to this lady, Caitlin McHugh.
And you know what? We're fans of hers too.
And there is a serious age gap there.
But look at him.
He
60. Doesn't look it.
She's 37.
She's my age.
Yeah, he's got a great hair transplant going on. He's got the full head of hair. He's got the Greek genes. He's got it all. He's got it all happening for him.
Yeah.
Okay, so Michael Rappaport goes on this show and he talks about how different actors and athletes are legendary, what he calls stick men. Okay. He'll and man, I'm trying to, who is the one that he's always talking about being like, he'll be like, yeah, he's a real coxman. DiCaprio is on this list.
DiCaprio is weird about it though. It's weird.
Doesn't matter. Boris Diaw, the old basketball player, is on this list. Pete Davidson, Cristiano Ronaldo, Chandler Parsons, the basketball player, Kelly Slater, the surfer, surfer, yeah. Absolutely. He had old actors that he would talk about just being.
Kelly Slater dated Pamela Anderson in her prime.
Yeah. Derek Jeter.
Oh, Jeter's notorious for having parties before it was
Yeah,
like common practice for people to take their cell phones and put it into a basket, and then you can come into the party because
that's
you
right.
can't document the things that are going to happen at said party.
Exactly. He would talk about guys like like who was the guy that played Steve Jobs, and Michael Fassbender apparently just has a serious piece on him. Just just a fucking pipe, okay?
He's rocking a hammer, right?
He's
got a hammer
he's
between his
got
legs.
he's got yeah. Okay, so Michael Rappaport talks about that. I'm all for that. I'm all for John Stamos and Rick Fox, another legendary stick man.
Rick
Okay.
Fox, notoriously married to Vanessa Williams.
Rick
Miss
Fox
USA.
doesn't have to say shit about the way he puts it down. You can look at him and know, and that's what I appreciate. So all of you who are like, I'm the pleasure man, no, fuck that. Absolutely not.
That was a great way to get back to that point. It's like people that you just look at him and go,
That guy's laying it
I
down.
don't have to ask.
Nope.
But Mr. Anton Turkolj, who self-declares, so let's ask the question.
Okay.
Did he give himself that nickname?
Yes.
He definitely did, right?
Yes.
He's definitely self-appointed as the pleasure man. Somebody in the fighting game doesn't say, Anton, you sling so much. We're going to call you Anton the Pleasure Man Turkolj. No. He called
It's my
he's calling himself the pleasure man. And in terms of giving yourself your own nickname, there's no greater dishonor.
it's one of my least favorite things about Brett Favre.
That he has a small dick.
I'm stealing a joke from one of my favorite comedians, but I need him to just be impossible, and he's not. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, the New York Jets sideline reporter unfortunately found that out.
Don't kick the Jets while they're down, man.
Hey, there's rumors, right?
No,
you're interested, right? In the Jets end
sure.
result. They may trade for Kirk Cousins.
Really?
Yeah, no Tom Brady. That's probably the one you're going, no.
That or Kaepernick.
Kaepernick? Wow.
Which, I'm sorry, if Kaepernick could play, he'd be on a team. Fucking Mitchell Trubisky is on an NFL roster. Okay? Brett Ripien is on a roster. Colin Kaepernick, the NFL doesn't give a fuck. Greg Hardy threw his girlfriend on a pile of guns and kept playing. Right? They weren't going to do anything to Ray Rice until the video came out. Don't tell me they care. They don't. Colin Kaepernick sucks.
Yeah, Colin Kaepernick, you're right. If he was good enough, he would be able to be a backup.
You have to be worth the headache, and he's not.
It's a tough truth, but I don't disagree with that at all.
I don't think it's tough. Sports is a 0-sum game, man.
It's results or no.
It's impartial. You can either throw the ball or you can't. You can either read the defense or you can't. You think Kirk Cousins has the physical tools that Colin Kaepernick does?
No.
Not even remotely.
No, but he's far more, well, it's question. I mean, some of it's questionable, but he has better decision making, and
I said physical tools.
I know. I'm just giving some context around it. But Minnesota, right? Pretty competitive against Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
The chatter around that is interesting in and of itself. That I don't know who Minnesota's backup is, why they would be even considering that, or why there would be chatter. Because essentially, where there's smoke, there's some fire.
Yeah.
So if there's rumors going around, there's probably some truth, a little kernel of truth in there.
Well, and specifically with a team like Minnesota, they're 0-2, so making the playoffs is Jaron Hall and Nick Mullins are their two backups.
So, Nick Mullins has played.
Yeah, he has 5 years of experience. He's from Southern Miss.
Yeah.
That's just it. If you're considering trading Kirk Cousins, if you're the Vikings, you don't think you can be competitive in your division.
And that's wild because that division is wide open. Detroit won. Okay, so Detroit's going to be good.
Yeah.
Green Bay has Jordan Love, and Chicago is Chicago.
Chicago's bad. Jordan Love looked good. The Tigers, the Lions made the playoffs, so I don't think.
So
I don't know if it's that wide open.
No, okay. I mean, I could be convinced otherwise, but they still have a chance. It's 0-2.
They do absolutely. They have a chance.
They have 15 more games to play that are of consequence.
But anyway, these teams know, man. These teams, they know what they have and what they don't. They know. In the NFL, those teams are often the most honest with themselves of any professional sport.
I agree with that. They have top tier offensive talent.
Look at my Angels. They have convinced themselves they're close year over year, and they're not even in the hunt. The NFL knows.
Angels or their fans?
Why are you? No, it is the Angels because you can tell by the moves they make.
I know they went so all in. They pushed all of their chips into the center, and they were holding like a jack 2, right? And they're like, I'm all in.
Yeah, they're like, but there was a jack in the flop. The next 2 could be jacks. You're like,
oh, I have the top pair, but I have the shittiest kicker.
Yeah,
I'm all in, and they're like,
what?
All right, well, I'm holding aces right now, so I call it, and guess what? They're gonna blow up the entire team. So you're gonna get your wish.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Trout. Why would Trout put himself in that position? If he came to them and said, "Guys, I know what you're doing, and I just don't want to be a part of it."
Yep.
They would trade him.
And they said they would.
They said they would.
And they should.
That's the right thing to do.
It is the right thing to do. You cannot say he didn't try with you because he did. Then the question becomes, because he definitely has full no trade protection. He's not only as a 10-5 player, but in his contract. Then it becomes, I think if you're him, there's only 2 places he even remotely considers. And he just tells them, you call those 2 teams and get the best offer and send me there.
Dodgers and Yankees?
Dodgers and Phillies.
Phillies. Oh, because he's from Philly. Okay.
He's from Jersey, but just right over the river. Yeah. Dodgers and Phillies. That makes sense. It's one of those 2.
And then they would trade him to the Phillies because they're not going to trade him to the Dodgers.
They would trade him to the Dodgers.
You think so?
I do.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think the Dodgers have a lot of trade capital and they give that back for what they would gain in an impossibly talented outfield of Mookie Betts and Mike Trout and whoever the fuck is going to play right field.
Well, Betts plays right field.
Okay, so it would be play center field.
That Outman kid is pretty good because Trout will play center and Outman will play left.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Los Angeles Dodgers, folks.
Wow. Okay.
2024 World Series champions.
You heard it here first. Back to the fights. Justin Taffa. Justin Taffa just absolutely destroyed Austin Lane. Austin Lane.
We like Justin Taffa.
We like Justin Taffa. We like the Taffa brothers. Aaron, what do you think about the Taffas?
I love the Taffas. They're on top of the world, one might say.
Oh my god.
On top of the world.
Well, at least Justin was on top of Austin Lane.
Yeah, Austin Lane. So he has that football background and he looks physically imposing, but is he good at fighting?
No.
So
Aaron, on Saturday, Ryan and I talked about, do you know who Sean Merriman is?
Mm-mm.
Okay, Ryan, let me get this is your screen we're looking at?
Yep. Yeah,
let me get a picture of Sean Merriman, please. They call him Lights Out. Can we get him shirtless, please? Look at this fucking guy. Okay. Sean Merriman runs a UFC, not UFC. God, I'm one of those guys.
Regional.
Can I get an eye touch, please? I like the iWatch. I'd like to buy one of those. Can I get the iWatch Ultra 2?
Look at that one.
Look at this fucking guy. Look at this fucking guy. Okay. So he runs an MMA promotion now. He's a former linebacker for Ryan's San Diego Chargers. You're welcome.
Now Los Angeles Chargers, but yes.
San Diego Chargers, you're right. Hey, they'll always be from San Diego in my heart. Look at this fucking guy. He runs an MMA promotion now, and he said if you gave him Khalil Mack, Ryan, let me get a picture of Khalil Mack, please.
All right, here we go. That's not a good one. Where are we going, Khalil? Where are you at? Where are you at?
The video of him running down that when he was in Chicago, running down the running back for someone from like 50 yards, having no business catching him. You know what I'm talking about?
Vaguely, yes.
It's just ludicrous. Sean Merriman says if Khalil Mack or a guy like him commit 18 months to MMA, not only would he win the heavyweight title, he'd probably kill someone in the octagon. And so the level of athlete is just absurd. Aaron Donald one time he sacked the quarterback by tackling the center and knocking the quarterback over. He tackled a 360-pound man to tackle a 230-pound man. All at once. He tackled 600 pounds of man with two arms. There's no athlete like that in MMA. So the fact that Austin Lane is 12-4 and competed with a guy like Justin Taffa, and the reason Greg Hardy rose as quickly as he did is because that's just a level of athleticism that guys don't have. Watch this here. Guys in MMA don't have.
All right. So this is a NFL replay when he played for the Raiders where he throws a lineman down with one hand. Just get the fuck down.
Oh my God. Okay, that man is wearing armor and he is 100 pounds more than the heaviest heavyweight. Okay, he's not
he's probably
heavyweight.
like 350
at least. And Khalil just throws him down with one hand. Okay. You watch JJ Watt in his prime. There's nobody in the UFC like JJ Watt. Yeah. You go ahead. You have fun with that. Everybody in MMA.
No. Anyway, Khalil Mack's really good at football. And what we're saying is that essentially he could train MMA and then destroy everybody. There's Khalil Mack with he's 250 and he's got 6-pack abs.
I see more than 6.
There's like 8. There's 8 packs there.
It's a special time for all of us.
The most jacked players in football. Well,
Zeke is ripped too. Yeah,
he just wears short shirts.
Who is that? Javonte Austin Eckler is another good example.
Dude, Austin Eckler is not 5'10". I don't care what you say. He is not 5'10".
He's also not 200 pounds. Also, he's like, yeah, I don't even really lift weights. Like, what? What do you mean? What do you mean you don't lift weights?
Shit. So all these people, right? There's Aaron Donald.
Yeah. Oh God.
Good God. Like just the greatest defensive player.
And here's the thing:
memory.
Test him. He'll pass. You know what they used to say about Terrell Suggs? Did we talk about this, you and I?
About him not warming up and just going in and like deadlifting or squatting.
He was an outside linebacker edge rusher for the Ravens, Aaron, and he would just walk in to the weight room and walk over to the deadlift bar that had, or the Olympic bar with the heaviest weight on it, and just deadlift it like 8 times and then just go to practice.
Like, I'm ready. So this is Khalil Mack, right? 6'3", 247. Already you got stats like a UFC heavyweight. He runs a 40-yard dash in 4.65. He can bench press 225 pounds 23 times, and his 40-inch vertical jump. He has a 40-inch vertical jump. And it says Khalil is soft-spoken, but don't let that fool you. He's also one of the top linebackers in the league. Yeah. So in terms of like personality, probably wouldn't be the best, but
Athleticism wise,
second to none.
I would be.
Aaron, we're dealing with like a warrior type situation, right? Somebody that's just amazingly physically gifted that comes in and just knocks everybody out and doesn't say shit.
I would be willing to bet outside of like the Sergeys, Curtis Blades, probably Stipe and John. He probably out wrestles every heavyweight on earth right now.
With just sheer strength.
Sheer strength. Football is kind of wrestling, but you get to run. And all these guys have done some sort of wrestling in their life. Dude. You like how I just make that blanket statement about every NFL linebacker and defensive end? Every single one of them is wrestled. So I don't care what you say.
Yeah, they're wrestling other human beings. So there's a lot of truth to that.
So the point is, Austin Lane is a much better athlete than Justin Taffa. He's just not as good at punching.
Yeah.
I'd like to see Justin Taffa box Jake Paul.
Well, he's like 60 pounds heavier than Jake Paul.
Yeah.
And he would destroy him.
Yeah. Both of those things are true.
Yeah, so fuck. Let's
Aaron, what did you think of Manel Kopp?
I kind of already said it. I felt like it was Felipe shining more than Manel Kopp failing.
Okay. How does it affect his climb the ladder at all?
No, not particularly.
Okay.
I like flyweight, like you were saying, is just kind of top heavy. So they're kind of just both up there now. I'd like to see either of them fight Kai Kara-France.
How many?
You're not wrong.
How many current flyweights could beat Mighty Mouse?
Well, Mighty Mouse is still winning. So
I know.
I don't know. I wouldn't put Manel Kopp in there. It's maybe one or it might still be 0.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's still 0.
Is that the shittiest trade the UFC has ever done?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it still the only trade?
I was about to say, is that it's still the only trade, but it's a really shitty trade. Like they got the short end of the stick on that one.
This is like fucking Babe Ruth to the Yankees.
And the UFC has to be engaging with Bellator now because Fedor is in the UFC game coming out soon.
I think that's different.
So at least there's communications between them in some way.
They got some likeness rights, right? So that's the biggest thing. They got likeness rights, but the UFC, or I should say, the Bellator is getting purchased most likely by the group that now owns the PFL. Right, that's still in works.
Is
right?
that the line of thinking right now?
That's that Saudi company that essentially bought the major stake in the PFL,
the Public Investment Fund or whatever,
to help support bringing other fighters over so they can pay them a higher wage and likely lure over some top tier talent. There's also been discussion prior to that the PFL was going to acquire Bellator. Now, the logistics of it or the planned operation don't make sense because what I heard was they were going to keep the brands separate and still operate them independently, which doesn't make sense to me. Wouldn't you want to just pool all that talent into one?
Yes, it's umbrella? What that is. I can tell you what that is. At least I think anyway. So here's what I think, if I may. 2 things. First thing, and I'm going to speak for both of you here. Saudi Public Investment Fund. If you're listening, the Pretty Neat podcast is for sale.
Yeah.
So
okay.
if you want to toss some of that money our way, we will exclusively talk about PFL and Bellator.
Yeah, we'll become subject matter experts on the PFL
in exchange for much cheaper than you paid for PFL.
Okay, I think that's fair. Aaron, how do you feel about that?
Why not?
Why not?
Why not? Cash those checks. Is that a bunny rabbit behind you?
Me?
No, it's
you know what?
clubs.
I was thinking that too. Oh,
I don't know why it's
Does it?
unblurring, but
I have
yeah,
a
it's
bike
golf
behind
clubs.
me.
But doesn't it look like a bunny rabbit?
It
It does.
totally
I was
did.
thinking
Oh,
that.
there
Yeah,
it
right
is.
there. There it
I
is.
was like,
Nice job.
why is there a bunny rabbit
There we
behind
Nicely
me?
go.
done.
That's just holding perfectly still, being the best bunny ever.
Yeah,
Okay.
nope, it's golf
Anyway,
clubs.
Separate from that, the keeping them separate is the same reason that Live Golf and the PGA Tour are separate. It will not be separate always, but there are these brands sign long-term agreements for
Mhm.
advertising, for merchandise sales, and they a lot of times when these acquisitions are completed, at least from what I've read about the way like companies acquire other companies, it's often cheaper to just live out those contracts than
Okay.
it is to pay out the severance fee or whatever it is.
Yeah, and some acquisitions are also completely royalty based. They don't
Yes,
actually take any sort of control or appoint anybody to the boards.
that
They
too.
just basically have one person on the board without a controlling stake, a vote, and just to maintain their royalties.
And in some cases, and this is not the case with PFL, but it was the case for a very big podcast. And sometimes it's just distribution. For the longest time, people thought Disney owned Pixar. They did not. Disney just
No.
distributed Pixar.
Yep.
They bought Pixar relatively not that long ago.
Yeah.
So in the case of the PFL, I am certain it is an acquisition. I think in the case of the PGA Tour, it's more an acquisition than anybody at the PGA Tour wants to say. They're just doing it to save face. Much in the way that the Michael Scott Paper Company and Dunder Mifflin one time merged. So that's more what I think this is. I think the way this goes is you get this public investment fund to purchase Bellator and PFL, and then that cyborg of and not the fighter, but that those two organizations somehow also fold in ONE FC, and then maybe the whole thing is rebranded as ONE FC, and that is the only way to compete with UFC.
So, okay. Buying them and then acquiring ONE FC or having ONE FC acquire them.
Some version of that, because ONE FC is pretty big globally. So
Yeah, no, I think I think they have a pretty big presence in Thailand. Aaron, right? They're actually putting up pretty similar numbers to what the UFC does in Thailand area, Asia, that Pacific Asian area.
That'd be my guess.
If I'm not mistaken, but
and you know they have the Amazon Prime deal, which don't underestimate how many people watch stuff on Amazon Prime.
You're not wrong about that. And Amazon Prime, in terms of if they have the support from Amazon, like we're talking about billions upon billions of dollars, which, yeah, the UFC has ESPN, but it's not the same thing. We're talking about different spheres of monetary wealth.
What? It's Amazon and ESPN?
Yeah. ESPN, Disney, Amazon has more money than Disney.
Yeah. Yes, they do.
So yeah, we're talking about more financial backing potentially, but also Amazon in terms of how they invest their money, it's much wider in terms of what they invest in.
Simply put, if they put the ONE FC on Prime banner on the top of Amazon, how many millions of eyeballs does that get to immediately?
Well, ONE FC also brings ONE FC has a Southeast Asian market.
It's way more. It's
Bellator and
the
PFL
most
don't.
eyes. And I'm not talking. I'm sorry, Aaron. I'm not talking about Amazon Prime Video. I'm talking if they put the ONE FC banner as an advertisement at the top of Amazon. So you open the app, you open the website.
Mm-hmm.
You know how many people look at Amazon every day?
Yeah. Yeah, they did for Demetrius Johnson's.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. So you're getting that fight in front of so many eyeballs, way more than ESPN reaches, to your point, Ryan.
Yeah.
So if they have that here, that's not nothing.
Yeah, they have copacetic markets,
Yeah.
One has Southeast Asia, Bellator and PFL of the US and Eurasia. So I think that
Eurasia.
if they were to combine,
Eurasia.
they would they would have what the UFC has. I mean, and that's a big part of why UFC is trying to get Europe.
But there's
But
no
I
one
agree.
FC gym
I don't know
Yeah,
that.
in terms of
here
branding,
anyway.
it's a bit different in the States.
Yeah, ONE FC
Yeah.
doesn't have a states market. It's a very small
Yeah.
niche MMA fans.
It's people
Definitely.
like us. Yeah.
Aaron, did you listen to the most recent Anakin Florian podcast where they had Franklin on?
No.
So for those that don't know, Rich Franklin works for ONE FC, and he's an executive, but he also does some color commentary. So he has this weird hybrid role where he's
Yeah.
somewhat like camera facing or talent based, but his main job is as an executive in growing the brand. Which was interesting is that he talked about moving to Thailand full time, living there for 5 years, and then he moved back because in preparation for the ONE FC to expand into the American market, he moved back to Cincinnati, which is where he's from, to help with those strategic meetings, like plans, etc. It was actually really interesting to listen to. Not to give any shout outs to another podcast, but we're talking about something relevant with ONE FC and the UFC and how those two things are going to be competing against each other and how they're going to fare. Like ONE FC has invested in a lot of talent to help develop that brand and expand beyond the Southeast Asian market, right? Misha Tate, for those that don't know, she worked for ONE FC for a long time as an executive as well. So I think they're committed long term to building the brand. It's just the thought of overtaking the UFC seems impossible right now. So
And
I just
it
don't know how that's
probably
going to
is.
plan. Yeah, I think so.
But maybe the move is not to overtake them. Maybe the move is to just try to slowly, Live Golf, I think, is probably the best example, right? Live Golf started. They had their YouTube. The first year was on YouTube. The viewing experience on YouTube as a golf fan and a golfer myself was really, really fun. The shotgun start, the shorter tournaments, they let them wear shorts. It's, it was different enough. The team based thing, which I never really, I still don't understand. The YouTube thing was cool. I thought it was cool that it was easy to get to. YouTube is a super stable viewing platform. It's not going to crash, right? So that's great. And they never really, they just put the money in. They have most of the big name golfers, or at least half of them. And then, people are saying, oh, obviously Liv is struggling because they signed with the CW. No, because do either of you know what channel the PGA Tour events are on?
No.
Or what network or what app?
ESPN.
Some of them. And some of them are on Peacock, and some are on CBS, and some are on NBC. And when I say NBC, I mean NBC, not Peacock. And it's super fucking frustrating. So Live Golf said, all right, we're going to put it in a place. All of those things. And then it turned out they were siphoning off enough of their business that the PGA said, all right, well, if you can't beat them, join them. And that's literally what the PGA Tour guy said. Jay Monahan or whatever his name is. So the move is not to compete with UFC. It's just to try to, and you know what? If they had the infrastructure in place, I bet they could get a guy like Stylebender to jump, especially where he's at in his career now.
Probably.
Maybe if they had it now, he may, but he's 34.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's fair. That's a fair sentiment. Let's finish this recap. So Tai Tuivasa, Alexander Volkov. Was anybody surprised by him just dominating? No.
No.
Right.
We like Tai, but no.
I think we wanted Tai to win. At least I did. and I knew that he has that like one touch knockout power, but Volkov really just controlled him. Um, so not surprising for Tai Tuivasa to kind of wilt under that pressure. He's never really shown a strong ground defense. So interesting to see what they do with him next, because clearly top 10 competition for Tai is not
Well, he's
not
just
working out
not
for him.
He's not there.
So it brings us to the main event. So I just want to call out, like, I'm sharing my screen. Look at the flip-flop tan on Sean Strickland.
Fantastic.
Fantastic flip-flop tan. This man wears flip-flops on the daily, it appears. And if we were hard pressed to say, did he have a chance to win? I don't think any of us in hindsight would say like he has a legitimate shot to win. And I don't think anybody else outside of Sam Alvey, right, who said it in the past, would have said that Sean Strickland would have won. And that's a deep cut, folks, because Sean Alvey did say that Sean Strickland would be eventually the middleweight champion. And he is now Nostradamus.
So
in that regard.
So Ryan, let's eat some crow here.
I will eat all the crow.
Aaron, during our drunken what pirouette? What can we call that? Pirouette? At America's Crossroads, and then a parking lot, and then a movie theater. I said, hey, on the show, Sam Alvey said Sean Strickland is going to be middleweight champion of the world. And Ryan said, and I agreed with him, that is a fucking horrible take. And well, no, it wasn't.
Well, apparently we don't train. Well, clearly we don't train with Sean Strickland, and we have definitely taken advantage of the fact that Sean has won his last 8, 9, 10 fights in a row, and thought that maybe he was just a bit punch drunk and was making picks based out of
No, he was just on a 2-fight win streak. He lost to Pereira and Cannonier.
Tough.
But he had won 6 in a row before that.
The Cannonier also was a split decision.
It was.
Okay. I take all that back, and I apologize to Sam Alvey, his wife, and his 5 children.
19 children.
Yeah,
Sam Alvey, stickman, for sure.
For sure. Married to one of America's Next Top Model winners, Sam Alvey, stickman, 100%.
Sam Alvey, we salute you.
Anyway,
Aaron, what did you think? Because Ryan and I know each other's opinions. We watched it and held hands. What do you think?
I mean, Sean just did what nobody else would do, which was get him in the phone booth.
Stand in front of him and don't move your head or feet.
Yeah, he clearly listened to Alex Pereira in camp, and I think it kind of went to show that not so much like Anderson Silva used flair, but the showmanship and being flashy does not beat the basics if you forget them. And I mean, Adesanya got taken down by 1-2s. Like, that is the first combo you learn in boxing. And, I think he just never recovered from the knockdown. And like, if the fight was going to continue as it was, it probably was going to go the same way. I mean, even though Adesanya won the second round, that was just the adrenaline from the knockdown, in my opinion.
Did he win the second round?
According to all the judges, he did.
The judges gave him all the judges.
I know, but judges are stupid. Here's the thing: as someone who has done a little bit of boxing, and by that I mean I wore gloves and did an exercise. The 1-2 it's actually the second thing you learn after the 1. But here's the thing: the 1-2 is fucking hard
to do it right,
and to land it, and to even do it for 5 minutes, much less 25 minutes, to do it for 50 seconds. If I put you in front of my heavy bag and the garage and said just hit it with 1-2s for a minute, after 22 seconds you'd be like, am I done? Because it's just an unnatural movement. The idea that you would just stand in front of him and do that and win is ludicrous, but the numbers, I mean, so I guess my question is, and this is what I've been thinking a lot about. I have several questions that are kind of wrapped up in one question. Is Israel Adesanya that good? Is he good?
I think he is.
Was he
Very
just fighting
good.
lesser talent?
I think he's
No.
good. He's beaten guys that also Sean Strickland has fought and lost to.
Like who?
Cannonier.
And
Pajeda.
Well, I think
Okay.
it shows
Don't-
that he's like.
I don't
a
like
lot
when
of
you say
champs.
Alex Pajeda. I don't like when you say Alex Pajeda because he's 1-3 against Alex Pajeda,
Yeah, 1-1 in MMA.
but 1-3 overall. And if it was, this is the Phil Jackson, Greg Popovich argument. Phil Jackson is Greg Popovich's daddy in all things, and in the playoffs is like 4-1 against him. But I think the most recent time they played each other, Popovich won in the playoffs.
Okay.
Popovich is not a better coach than Phil Jackson.
I wouldn't disagree with that.
I know you
sentiment.
wouldn't, but there are people
Yeah.
who think that he is, and I call them Eddie Hearn level fucking morons. So, what was I saying?
The fact
He's
yeah.
1-3 against Pajeda. And if they fight at 205, are either of you picking Stylebender?
Nope,
So
I'm not.
I wouldn't at first. I need to
between Adesanya and Sean Strickland, which of the two of them could beat the guy who is going to be middleweight champion by this time next year?
Bo Nickel?
Which of the
Neither.
two of them has the better chance to beat him?
Neither.
But who has the better chance?
Strickland.
That is correct.
Is he?
No, it is Sean Strickland.
No.
Did you hear what Sean Strickland did after he won?
What did he do?
No.
He went camping with me.
Oh,
What?
okay.
Yeah, it was pretty wild.
You go camping so often.
I
I'm
know,
jealous. I'm
and I
jealous of
needed-
your camping excursions.
And like it was gonna be, I wanted to make sure and to kick you guys off on this
All right.
on this camping trip. I wanted to make sure that somebody else came with us besides Sean Strickland, and it was another shit talker, Mike Bisping. And so, I mean, we had bangers and mash, and they were much better than the mashed potatoes that the woman had at Chili's.
Yeah, did you have any blood sausage?
We had some blood sausage. Yeah. So who else do you think went? Because quite a few people went on this trip. Mike Bisping and Sean went with me. And yeah, those are two.
Sean Strickland and Michael Bisping and yourself on a
Yeah.
camping trip. But there
Quite
were
a
more
few
people,
others.
you said?
Quite a few
Quite a
others.
few.
Yeah. You might want to guess. Guess who else went?
Did Amanda Nunez go with you on this trip?
No, she did not.
Okay.
Well,
Well, that's
I'm
unfortunate.
sorry. Who was on the trip to this point?
Mike Bisping and Sean Strickland. Yeah, but not Amanda Nunes.
Was
Someone
Anderson Silva on this trip?
No.
No.
Someone who fought Amanda Nunes was on this trip.
Was Pena?
Yeah, she was.
Oh, okay. I know what this is.
Yeah, Pena was there. She wasn't the only woman. Though, I will say there were a couple of fantastic women on this trip.
Was Rose on this trip?
Rose was on this trip.
Yeah, I know what it is.
Yeah. She got invited.
She got invited and she
Yeah.
came.
She did.
But she's the best. Don't say she came. I don't like that.
Well, okay.
You're
Well,
right.
She came on the camping trip.
Yeah. Only
That's not
two
even
other
there. That's not
only two other women joined. But quite a few fellas did.
Was fuck.
Was Zhang Wei Li on the camping trip?
No,
No.
Zhang was not on the trip. She
What?
was not.
No. Was who is her name? The Cookie Monster?
No, Carla Esparza was not.
She wasn't.
She was not. Surprisingly.
Hang on. No, you're right, she wasn't.
Yeah. One might have thought that she would be on the
Yes.
list for our camping, but
But
no.
are you squinting for her not to be there?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna play anymore because I know what this is.
Okay. Yeah. There's 2 New Yorkers who joined me. Who I was happy because like Mike Bisping has the great accent, but I wanted that Frankie Edgar.
Not Aljamain Sterling.
Not Aljamain.
Mhm.
No. Frankie Edgar though, maybe some Matt Serra.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know, Matt Serra and Frankie were good. They did not like the fact that TJ Dillashaw showed up, which was surprising
Wait.
because you know, you wouldn't think that about TJ. But it's
TJ was
true.
on the camping trip?
TJ was on the trip. Yeah.
Okay, then I don't actually know what it is.
Oh, I think you do. But I think that TJ's a bit of a snake. So I'll tell you, there's only a couple more people that were allowed to come on this trip. And I'm going to tell you everyone who came on this trip and see if you get it. Sean Strickland came on this trip, so did Mike Bisping.
Was Jamal Hill on this trip?
He was not.
Okay.
Rose came, Juliana came,
I don't know what this trip is. I'm sorry.
Frankie and Matt Serra came.
Is Sean O'Malley on this trip?
He's not.
Yeah, okay. I don't know. Was Cody Garbrandt on this trip?
Nope.
Okay.
Holly
Do you guys
Holm
remember there was a Holly Holm is?
Yep.
You guys remember there was a time when Cody Garbrandt was saying he was going to beat Sean Strickland in a fight?
That's wild.
That's a fun time.
Yeah. Fabrizio Verdum.
Verdun?
I know what it is, but I don't know the words. Is Leon Edwards on this trip?
No, he is not.
Are you sure?
You'd think, but no.
Okay.
And TJ.
Is Alex Payne on this trip?
No.
Okay. Yeah.
Alexa Grasso is.
Yeah. Is this everyone who's eating Wendy's at 11:30 on a Saturday night?
You didn't include yourself in this list.
Damn
well,
it,
I
you
didn't.
figured it
I
out.
mean, man, I fucking knew it.
So Dom, what did you think was the
I
criteria?
I thought it was something about like people who beat a champion that had defended it 5 times in a row or something, but that doesn't actually make sense because Stylebender didn't.
You're so close.
Or people who only won one and then never defended it, but that also doesn't make
It
sense.
doesn't make sense. No, I think you're on it on the first one. I think it's people that have defeated the champion who had previously defended their title more than once.
You're really close. But this is
Is it people who did what Ryan said, but then picked up like a drifter at Joanne Fabrics?
What?
I don't know where that came from. No,
you know where that came from. Come on, you of all people. The Joanne
is-
Fabrics reference?
No, I have no idea.
No, Aaron should get that joke.
Why?
That's a Family Guy joke.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't pick that up. I didn't watch much Family Guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't think I've seen all of it. Is it still on?
I think they're still doing it.
I think they're still making it.
Huh. Well, I'll tell you. I only invited people to go camping with me if they won the belt as the underdog
Ooh.
of
Huh.
over plus
Okay.
200.
Oh, that's a good one.
Because like Sean and they had to be unanimous too, because that makes
Sean-
it upset. Because
Sean
O'Malley,
wasn't-
he was the underdog on a couple of
But he's only had the one title fight.
yeah, this is people who just won the belt as a massive underdog. That's
Wasn't
all.
he like a plus 230 or something?
I think to win by KO.
That was plus 330.
Maybe. He wasn't on
Okay.
the list I saw. So that
All right.
also is
That's
a
fair.
more recent fight. So that probably just wasn't
Okay.
wasn't there. But that's interesting because
Plus 210.
oh yeah, he should have been on the list.
All right. We were close.
You were very close. You were very, very close. I think the one
So
that
close.
surprised me the most was which one was it? Oh, and I totally left off Henry Cejudo, who was a heavy underdog against Demetrius Johnson.
Ooh.
I forgot about
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
that. But
Question. Scroll up, Ryan.
yeah.
All the way to the banner.
Yes, we have to talk about this weekend's fights because I have to leave soon.
Those are renderings, right? Those are not actual pictures.
They're Photoshop. That's filters.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
that's Kamaru's arm. I mean, if you can't tell.
Pretty sure that's Kamaru's arm. Yeah.
What does she
Also,
do? Just
did
have
you-
like a jacked black arm holding the belt?
Just all the time. It's the same arm. Did you guys see the belt that they did for USA Noche?
No.
There's a belt?
And now it's time for the Pretty Neat Podcast picks.
Yeah, they
Oh,
they
it has the
stylized
colorful
it.
strap on it. Oh, yeah, I do see it.
Oh, is it green, white, and red?
No, it's like pink and blue and green.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
See it right there?
Yep. That's
oh
cool.
shit. It's like
So,
that's
Aaron,
dope.
you're in the card world.
Yeah.
I am really, really into official alternate colorways of things.
Yeah.
That's a big card game thing. Shiny Pokemon would be an example of something I'm
Shiny
into.
Pokemon.
Sure.
In my damn near 30 years of playing Pokemon, I have legitimately caught 2 shiny Pokemon in my life. I've had many, but I have caught 2. And I am very much into special edition things like this, special colorways, etc.
Is this one where you would spend 600 on a replica?
No, sir.
That
That's fair.
looks really dope. That's
does.
The Dark
It
Saber.
looks great.
The Dark Saber would be an example. And I had a very long internal discussion the other day staring at my wall in my office of whether or not it would be appropriate to put the Dark Saber on it.
You
Yes.
mean
Yeah, but I rule Mandalore. We've discussed this. And I mean
Would you
my
look at
office
that?
at work, which is at a school.
Okay. Well,
So
I also have things in my office at work that no, they're not that quite on that level. But anyway, okay.
my issue is I would take it out to break in lunch and yeah. Did I tell you the lightsaber story? Did I tell you guys the lightsaber story?
No.
So a kid gets sent up to the office early in the school year this year. And I had just happened to be walking by and the kid is fucking sobbing. And so we have our principal and then there's 2 assistants, me and another assistant principal. She's awesome. And we have a secretary that does discipline and then also like supports both assistant principals. And I go, "Hey, what's going on?" to the kid who's crying. And the secretary, who is amazing, she goes, he had a weapon and it got confiscated. And I'm like, "A weapon? No, he had a plastic lightsaber from Disneyland and he was upset because he thought he wasn't going to get it back. And he had never been to Disneyland before. And so this fucking 6th grader is crying. And I'm like, hang on, dude. Do you have a weapon? He goes, no, I wanted to show my friends. And he's got like a blue lightsaber but that also had the 2 little, what's the thing that come out above your wrist? Cross guard, which is not thematically consistent in any way for the lightsaber he had constructed, but whatever. I'm like, listen, buddy, I'm going to need you to stop crying. Also, it's sick that you brought a lightsaber to school and I can't let you take it back to class, but I can give it to you at the end of the day. You're not in trouble at all. Also, the fact that the teacher sent you up here for that is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I digress. That was on like day 3 this year. I want to put the dark saber in my office, and I love alternate colorways of things, and I like this belt. Carry on.
Okay. That's all rad, and I love the way that you handled that situation, and you probably diffused it with a lot of ease, and you put him at you put his concerns away.
I
Here's
have
the thing.
I have a Grogu Funko Pop in my office.
Okay.
And so I showed him that. I'm like, hey, you're in good company, man. You're safe. Don't worry.
Like, dude, you're fine here. How is Tracy
You're among
Cortez and
friends.
Jasmine Judavicius on the prelim? Why is that not on the main card?
That's MMA math for you.
Yeah, and
Aaron?
I don't know, and they're ranked.
And they're ranked, right? So
And that's a basically a pick 'em.
Yeah,
Odds wise.
I got the Canadian on this one. Aaron,
You
what do
do?
think? Yeah.
I do too. Bigger, stronger. And Tracy's got all that drama outside of this with Paulo Costa and Brian Ortega and shit. So I think she's done. I think she's checked out completely.
I don't know about that drama.
I think it'll be
Tracy's
Jasmine.
Tracy's a
Trounce.
smoke show.
Yeah.
And she's
Great
has
jiu-jitsu.
great grappler, right? She practices all the time.
And she's
with
Brian
Paulo
Ortega's
Costa
She's
now.
with
girlfriend.
Brian Ortega. Or is she now doing it with Brian Paulo Costa? That's the drama. But anyway, give me the Canadian.
Yeah, neither
Also
of them lay
grappler.
pipe.
Better
Paulo Costa, not a stick man. Brian Ortega, stick man.
Not a stick man.
100%
Brian Ortega
stick
for sure.
Nope. Tracy Cortez left him for Paulo.
Yeah, but women don't get to choose who a stick man is, innocent.
man. Well, only men can decide who.
It actually doesn't really have anything to do with them. Carry on.
We're gonna go ahead and bypass a couple of these fights.
Yep.
Roman
Yeah.
Kopylov, Josh Fremd. Like Kopylov should really just steamroll this guy.
I think Josh Fremd's nickname should be Josh Your Fremd.
Wow, Josh.
Done.
Josh, your friend.
Remember Puig Your Fremd? Josh
No.
Fremd Zone. There's a lot of them.
Yeah. Roman should dominate.
He should dominate. Same thing with Lupe Godinez. I know, like we're
Lupe.
highlighting a lot of
He's back.
Lupe. She's back,
It's,
and she's a massive favorite.
and she's Mexican too. She's gonna have
Not-
that crowd.
Not Lupe.
Lupe,
Lupe.
Yeah.
Lupe, go home.
Yeah.
Elise Reed's in for a world of hurt. I think Lupe
She
is.
gets tapped.
She gets after it, so I think that's a given.
I would even go so far as to prop this one that
Really?
it's a KO or TKO by Loopy in the first.
Ooh, that's
Like straight up, she's gonna at
What?
least lets herself get touched. So it's good.
How many women's fights? So, okay, here's why you shouldn't bet on that, everybody who's listening.
Bag.
Lupe Godinez has exactly one knockout in her career. It was against Ashley Maston in SCL Fight Night in 2019.
She's gonna have 2 tomorrow.
hey.
I'm that confident.
Wow.
I am that confident.
Well, here's what I'll say. If you're going to bet on Lupe Godinez on a single bet ticket, you may as well get her by TKO because at minus 440, there's no value there.
Yeah. And here too, consider they know this is going to be fireworks. This is the featured prelim. They are
Yes.
expecting this to be fireworks.
Okay.
And I wholeheartedly believe it will be Loopy that provides them.
I will eat crow if I'm wrong.
Okay. What I don't care about Fernando Padilla and Kyle Nelson.
I assume that because it's opening up the main card, that it's going to be some type of a banger. But
Yeah, just two guys gonna punch each other.
just two guys going after it. Give me the Mexican.
Hey. We're just a couple guys out here fucking, you know.
So the next fight is interesting because I've heard a lot of chatter around Christian Gallegos, like being that kind of guy who can upset Daniel
Christos
Zellweger.
Giagos.
Christian Giagos.
Christos Giagos.
Christos. No, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
And he's
You're
been
right.
in the
Christos.
UFC a long time. He's a sleeper.
You know what?
This is an
For a
interesting
guy
fight.
with 30 fights, I can tell you I confidently do not remember a single one of them.
That's reasonable, but I've seen cards.
He
of
fought
his
Armin
going-
Sarukian and
I've s-
Thiago Moises.
You mentioned the card trade. He's been He's had cards for at least the last 4 or 5 years.
Here's someone on the really. Here's someone
Mhm.
who's lost to was that Max Griffin Mitchell at WFC 2016? He lost to Josh Emmett in that title fight 2016. Lost to Charles Oliveira and Drakkar Close.
Yeah.
Huh.
He's not great. He's just been around.
He's
He's
a
been
Kill
around.
Cliff FC guy.
Yep.
Yeah. He could be a can, but I actually think he'll put up a good fight because of his age. The
Yeah,
Spartan.
I tend to agree.
Go on his
I tend to
shield.
agree here.
He's
He'll-
bodied up, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. He'll go to sleep or he'll put him to sleep. But I don't think that's a fight goes to decision.
Is this
All right,
a
so
6-fight main card?
It is
5,
a
okay.
5. So we got Wonder Boy, Raul Rosas Jr. fighting Terrence Mitchell. No odds on this one. Interestingly
Oh,
enough,
I've got odds.
Is
What
it
do you guys
UFC
think?
does.
What do you guys think they are
I
on
think
ESPN,
Raul
which is
Rosas is
Caesars?
probably a huge favorite.
I'm not gonna say that huge. I'm gonna say he's up somewhere between +2 and +230. And Terrence is no, sorry, minus.
Uh-huh.
And Terrence is probably +180.
So ESPN via Caesars has Raul Rosas Jr. as minus 800.
Oh
No, they
my
don't.
goodness.
Yes, they do.
Does Terrence have absolutely no ground game then?
Terrence is
So-
plus 550.
That must
I
be
think
the
they're
only
I
way.
think they're both grapplers though. That's the thing is I think Terrence is also a grappler.
This is going to be a cool fight because Raul Rosas is only 18 and Terrence Mitchell is 33. And
Yeah,
so because of that,
Cameron Simon beat Mitchell.
yeah, Mitchell's last 3
TKO.
wins have been submissions.
Yeah, and that okay, yeah. Then they are giving this fight to Rosas because Rosas jiu-jitsu is gonna be better. That's all he has.
So this is just like a hey, you lost. We're gonna give you a fight that you can win.
I guess. Maybe. Yeah, I hope so. I mean, that sounds like they want this to go to the ground because they want Rosas to win.
They definitely want Rosas to win.
Minus 800 is wild.
That's
That's
insane.
wild.
He's the biggest favorite on the card by a mile.
A country mile, as they say.
Wow.
And Jay Knutson is a minus 700 over M Man in the very first
Knutson?
fight on the prelims.
Knutson?
Yeah,
Knutson that's just
Knutson.
Knutson.
Yeah.
All right. Jack Della Maddalena, the man with 3 names, versus Kevin Holland, the man with the mouth. Really close in terms of the odds. Welterweight bout. Jack Della, his last fight, he squeaked out a split decision. He didn't look great. Prior to that, we thought he was on the up and come and he was going to be a world beater. What do we think happens here?
I think Jack Della gets it done.
Yeah.
I think Kevin Holland clubs and subs.
Okay, so I can see both, to be quite honest. And with Kevin Holland's versatility, it all comes down to, in my mind, and Aaron, like, tell me your thoughts, like his mindset.
You know what? I don't think it's I think Kevin Holland is outgrowing the mindset thing. I think he's really going to work now. I don't think he overcomes anything more than he had to overcome when Kamzat was looking in his face. Like, I don't think there's anything scarier than the Borg, frankly, because he is the type of man who would kill you, other than Jessica Andrade when she tried to kill Rose. So I don't think Kevin has anything to be afraid of. He mostly wants to fight middleweight anyway. So, like, I don't think he really is concerned about losing his ranking at welterweight. And I've seen more versatility out of Kevin Holland. I could see him. Does he have the reach advantage? I'm assuming he's probably got the reach
I would
massively.
assume- I
8
would
inches.
assume
It's
it's
8
huge.
inches. Yeah.
Yeah, then to me, that's going to be probably a good combo that'll drop Magdalena and Holland will jump on him. I don't.
So
that's not crazy to think about, to be quite honest. That is huge.
Della Maddalena lands 7.27 significant strikes per minute, and Kevin Holland lands 4.11.
Okay, so what do we know about Jack Della Maddalena?
What about
He's
absorption?
I don't know.
Because I
yeah. What
think
about
Kevin Holland has great striking defense.
yeah? What about taking it? Who takes it better?
Yeah. And Holland, would you say he's a counter striker? I don't think he is, but he's creative in his reactions. I think about Jacare all the time.
I would not say he's a counter striker.
I think he's just fluid, right? To your point,
Okay.
doesn't necessarily have to be a counter striker. He's just going with the flow of the fight.
He's an opportunistic fighter.
He's an opportunistic fighter.
That's
However,
fair.
to his disadvantage in the Wonder Boy fight, he's like, "Oh, I want to keep it standing," when clearly he could have taken him down at any point
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's nonsense.
and really dominated that fight.
And I want to
What do we?
lend credence to what Dom said, which is Jack Della throwing 7 strikes a minute is going to really close off those opportunities. If he really keeps a good pace with it, because if Kevin Reed gets a read on that, it's also a lot of opportunities. So I
Not
don't
wrong.
know.
I think the longer it goes, the more Kevin Holland is favored in this fight because of his cardio, his ability to take the fight wherever it goes. He's a, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he's a Travis Lutter black belt,
That is correct.
which is impressive. And Jack Della Maddalena, from what I know of him, all of his fights, he keeps it standing. So Kevin Holland has the ability to take it wherever it needs to go.
You guys know Jack Della is undefeated in UFC.
Oh,
I do now.
there you go.
So he won on the Contender Series in 21. He beat Pete Rodriguez at 270. Ramazan Emeev at 275. Danny Roberts at Fight Night in Njeku Kutalaba. Randy Brown at 284, and then Basil Hafez at Home Bueno Silva just in July. He has not lost an MMA fight since May of 2016.
Wow.
That's
he actually
wild.
started his career 0-2, and then he's gone 15-0 since then.
14-0.
He's 15-2.
This shows him as 14-2.
Oh, ESPN has him at 15-2. That's weird.
Interesting. Okay, maybe they're not counting Contender Series.
Maybe.
Anyway,
either way, he has won every fight he's had since May 28th, 2016.
so Dom, you have Jack Della,
After looking at this, yes, I do.
and Aaron, you have Kevin.
I do.
And I am leaning towards Kevin, to be quite honest.
Why?
His versatility, and I feel like Jack is not going to end the fight in the first round, and that will be in Kevin Holland's favor.
If he does, wow.
Yeah, wow.
I actually think Jack Della has way more to gain by dominating in this than Kevin Holland does by dominating in this.
This is by far the biggest challenge for Jack Della Maddalena.
Agreed.
Mhm.
Agreed.
By far.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Okay, so that takes us to our main event. Alexis Grasso, Valentina Shevchenko. Previous fight, Valentina has really chalked it up to making a mental error that resulted in her losing her championship belt. Previously, we had the discussion of, is Valentina ever going to lose? Is she just going to keep the belt and then also move up in weight, which is still on the table, in my opinion, going up to 135. But she's coming in as the favorite. She's a slight favorite. I think it's a minus 165 right now, minus 166. Alexa, no respect for the champion at a plus 140. What do you think happens? We'll go Dom first.
I think Valentina wins convincingly.
Really? Is that a decision, or does she get
This
a
is
stoppage?
a knockout.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Early, late,
Mid
rounds?
round.
Okay.
Somewhere between the last minute and a half of round 2 and the first 2 minutes of round 4.
So why do you think she's going to have a stoppage when she just lost in surprising fashion? Let's be honest. She lost in surprising fashion against her previously.
I think that was Grasso's only path to victory, and I think Shevchenko's the type of fighter where you show it to her once, and you're not going to get it on her twice.
Amanda Nunes did, but she
Yeah,
was way
but
bigger.
and I was gonna say the exception to that is Amanda Nunes, but we're talking about the greatest of all time, and so the rules don't really apply to her.
Okay.
Um,
Any credence around Valentina being 35 and coming off of a
no,
loss?
no, and here she's beaten the who's who of.
She definitely has. In
It's
125, she's up until this point, she's cleared out the division. But
other than Amanda, and she's not as good as Amanda. In a you run this again, you run her career again where Amanda doesn't exist, and she's the greatest women's fighter of all time. It's just unfortunately they were in their primes at the same time, and Amanda is much better and a little bit bigger.
okay, so this is a Nadal
Federer.
Federer situation.
Do people still argue Federer?
I don't know. I'm just pulling shit out of my ass at this point.
Because I mean,
I'm
or no, sorry, no, Nadal Djokovic.
Well,
Novak.
Well, I was thinking Federer because at that point they had a greater rivalry, and then Novak came up while they were still in their quote unquote prime, but he's obviously surpassed all of them.
Novak is the greatest men's tennis player of all time.
Yeah, he is.
He just won his 24th
Fourth Grand
major,
Slam. Yes.
or not
Or,
Grand
yeah.
Slam. They call them majors.
They call them slams. The slams.
Is that right?
I think so.
No, they call them majors. The Grand Slam is if you win all four in the same year.
That's correct.
Yeah. 24 majors, excuse me?
I'm gonna explain why I think Dom is right.
Okay.
And that I also think that Morning Combat fellas, Luke and Brian,
Shout out.
kind of put it really well, which is that Valentina is a professional and a machine who will fix the glitch. You know, the mistake she made is just a glitch in the game and she will fix it. However, they brought up an interesting argument, which is that Alexa is young enough and flexible enough to also have learned from the first fight. And it's just whether or not she actually can adapt. Because I think Dom is right, because in order for Alexa to win, she has to do something new, because her only path to victory was what she got last time. She will have to do something new this time to win. And it'll have to be something really unexpected, because I mean I'm talking Rose Namajunas head kick to Zhang level of unexpected. But I don't think Valentina will make those mistakes, and she won't make the same mistakes. And I also believe that she actually will have something to prove. And I think she will, which is why I think she's going to have the focus that's really going to kick into gear halfway into the fight, or around halfway. And she's going to notice that Alexa is not responding, and then she's going to find it. Like I'm thinking like who was it that took the fucking baseball bat to the head from Valentina? Was that Raquel? Was
Jessica
that wrong?
I.
It was
Jessica I. Like literally, I could see a repeat of that.
You know what? I was gonna say that. I really do think we could be looking at something like that here.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I really don't think Alexa's gonna win. I especially not by decision.
Okay, so you're calling Valentina to win. Obviously, you gave great rationale behind that and previous experience. You're saying she gets it in a stoppage?
Yeah, I would pick her to win, but I don't know if I would pick her to stop if I was placing it bad.
Okay, fair enough.
I mean, maybe it might be more worth it, frankly, with these odds. Like, why take this coin flip when I can take the prop on the finish? You know what? I would take the prop on the finish.
I think that's fair. And if I had to throw my own hat into the ring, and I will, because I'm going to right now, I'm also in the in the camp of the Pretty Neat podcast and saying that Valentina gets her title back. And I also think that she's going to do it as a stoppage. Everything that you guys just said was very poignant, made a lot of sense. I also think there's immense amount of pressure on Alexa Grasso coming in on UFC Noche. They're celebrating Mexican independence. They're having this stylized belt for the event. It's
And
her
this is a lot.
first title defense, and Valentina is a fucking hungry dog.
And they weren't even the main event when she won the belt.
Correct.
They were the
Correct.
co-main. So like you're the main event on the inaugural Noche UFC. Oof.
I just
That's
feel like
hard.
that amount of pressure to real or not, but she's representing her country and she's in the main event and she's the champion. There are people that rise to that and use it as motivation, and there are people that feel that as a burden. And I don't know Alexa, but more often than not, people view that as more of a burden, like, hey, I don't want to let my country down, as opposed to, hell yeah, I have everybody behind me. I am going to dominate my opponent. We're facing somebody that Dom said is probably the second greatest female MMA fighter.
Probably.
Likely. I mean, there's some cyborg
I'll say
conversations.
UFC fighter.
Yeah. Cyborg is in
and
there
I
for
would
sure.
say UFC because of Kayla.
Okay,
And
that's
Kayla.
fair as
Yeah,
well.
that's fair.
Okay.
Second greatest UFC for sure.
We forgot about the All-American Kayla Harrison.
Kayla's coming back too.
She is coming back in November. Also, Kayla shouldn't do any type of color commentary. Just really not good at it.
Is it bad?
It's bad.
She's no Laura Sanko.
She is. She's not even in Laura Sanko's galaxy.
Oh wow.
To be quite honest, it is amateurish at best. And that's me saying as a fan of Kayla Harrison as a fighter, but please don't do any color commentary for fighting until you've really honed your craft. Okay, so we're all on board with Valentina. I think Valentina wins. Does she go up to 135 and try to do two belts?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Who is Juliana going to fight? Because it's definitely going to be Juliana in the next title fight. Who does she fight?
Haven't they already announced it?
No, but they're all speculating that's going to be Holly Holm.
Okay,
Holly Holm is 41.
No, I think if Valentina wins by a finish, you know what? I don't even think it has to be a finish. I think this is with where women's flyweight is at. I think they'll do a trilogy
with Alexa.
Yeah, because I mean, if Alexa got a finish and then Valentina gets a finish, even if Valentina gets an amazing finish, there's not really much else interesting. Well,
so
I guess Aaron Blanchfield is waiting.
Yep.
But Aaron Blanchfield didn't look that amazing in her last fight. She looked like she grinded it out.
What about Manon? What about Manon?
Even still, she didn't destroy Rose. Like it to me, even if regardless of how this next one finishes, unless it's a totally boring decision, which it could be. And if it is a boring decision for Valentina, then Alexa does not get the rematch and you get Aaron Blanchfield or Manon.
So I sort of see it that way. I think this is it just depends on how it looks, right?
It really
After
does.
watching Nunez Pena 2, when Nunez knocked her down 19 times.
Yeah.
But it went to decision. If it's that sort of thing, then nobody wants to see the rematch. If Valentina catches her, say, in the second round with a head kick and flatlines her,
I'd want to see a rematch.
But the first round was kind of competitive. People are going to want to see a rematch. Yeah. So it just depends.
The first round will be competitive because Valentina is not a slow starter, but she feels her opponent out. Like she will, the most exchanging she lets happen is in the first round to see what she's going to do.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, if Alexa can do something though, and finish Valentina or convincingly win a unanimous decision, I don't know that I want to watch Valentina fight Erin Blanchfield now. Like maybe she
Why?
should move up to
So
to
here's
135.
bantamweight.
I think Valentina wins this fight, defends it one time, and walks off like Amanda did.
And that'd be a good way to go to do it. She'll be
Mhm.
36,
Yeah.
and then she'll train a bunch of young and uppercomers.
And she could tell him, "Hey, I'm gonna go after one. I win. I'm gonna go after one more. So don't give me Aaron Blanchfield, don't give me Manon or
Or
Tyler
give her Macy
Santos.
Barber.
Give me Macy Barber or Katie Chooks or Lauren Murphy. Give me someone we're pretty sure I'm gonna win.
Yeah,
I don't want a grueling 12-week camp where I have to get ready for Juliana Pena, who's much bigger than me. I don't want to do that.
that's
I'm
why I
gonna
picked Macy. She's beat everybody else.
I'm gonna
She's
beat
the
her and
highest
then
ranked.
Beat.
I'm gonna walk off. So yeah, Macy's the perfect version of what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
And
that's a good
not
call.
not to
And make
not
Aaron
to
and
like
Manon fight.
not to like disagree with that whole thing, because there is a vision or a path that I see can make sense. But is Lauren Murphy really going to jump Manon and Aaron to fight for the title? No. The UFC is not going to do that.
Nope.
If we're saying
What do you?
that,
But they
They
do that.
they kind of did with Lauren the first
what
time.
makes more sense?
Sean Strickland did it.
Yeah. But either way, like
And it's kind of the same thing because Stylebender had beat everybody below him. Granted, Drickus was injured, but
but Valentina has not beaten Aaron or Manon.
she hasn't fought him though.
Correct.
Stylebender hasn't fought Bo,
Yeah,
but
I
he
think they'll
loses.
have
Bo,
Aaron.
Bo wasn't ranked number 2 or 3.
Neither was
right?
Sean.
Sean was like number 6. Okay.
This is MMA math though.
I think they'll have
Okay. But
Aaron
what makes
and
more
Manon fight
sense?
for top contender, and then they'll fight
Legitimately,
Alexa.
Aaron, thank you.
If
Have Aaron and Manon fight for the vacant belt after Valentina fights Juliana Pena for the vacant women's bantamweight, and then retires
as
as
double
a double
champ,
champ,
uh-huh.
Oh,
and
that's
then
fine.
and then Holly Holm gets to face whoever the fuck, and Aaron.
But why does
fights-
Holly Holm get to jump 3 fighters?
No
because
name.
Holly Holm's
Biggest
41.
name.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and name.
But-
Myra Bueno Silva, Raquel Pennington, no fucking way.
No.
I don't care if she's won 6 fights in a row.
No,
has,
I'm with you. I'm with you.
but no fucking way.
Sometimes though, they do just give
Juliana
the,
Pena would get destroyed by Valentina.
You think so?
I think so.
I do.
What's Juliana Pena's? What's she gonna try and do? She gonna try and take her down.
I think
Valentina has fantastic takedown defense.
She's
That ain't
bigger
gonna-
than her though.
It still won't
She
work.
is bigger than her, but
Oh,
It's
Valentina
still
already
hard.
beat her in 2017
Oh,
there you go.
well.
by submission. So
Suck on those ovaries.
suck on those ovaries.
I should probably get going, fellas. I'm late.
Your
You're
camping
late?
trip was fun.
The
Yeah.
camping trip was fun,
And the rare Friday. Pretty neat podcast.
yeah. I
Yeah.
apologize that I wasn't able to attend the camping trip.
Can we take it out on yet another what the fuck are you doing for my Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim?
Sure, I also have a good one for Noche
Okay.
UFC.
No, we'll do I'm gonna do my thing and then you can do yours. So Ryan, as a fellow lifelong Angel fan, Anthony Rendon, who has been injured forever, has told people, being the media, that he has a fractured leg and that the Angels have known it for weeks. And he has no idea why they haven't said it.
Okay.
They, in fact, have hidden it because they are just a disaster.
What's the benefit of them hiding that injury?
Because they are run. Who is the blind cartoon character?
Mr. Magoo.
Yes, because they are run by Mr. Magoo.
Mr.
I went to the Angel game last Friday, 1 week ago today. There were 2 fans
I'm
in
pretty
the
good
building.
at pub trivia.
You are good at pub trivia. There were 2 fans in the building who understood the problem. Me and a guy who had a shirt on that said "Sell the team" in the Angels font. And I said, "Hey man, that's a nice shirt." He said, "Thanks." I said, "It's the only solution." He said, "I know." And then we kept going.
Good. I bet
Good
that's
day
what
to
he
you.
wanted by wearing that shirt.
What's your Noche UFC thing?
Oh, it's just a good way to end the show,
All right.
because it's UFC Noche and everything. So I figured the best way to put it is remember the Alamo.
Hey, you know why I love MMA so much? It's pretty neat. That is 100% true, but it's also because it brings us together. You know what? Violence really does bring people together.